Hello there, this is the next episode of the Strife and Grimbone walkthrough. Last time we did the upper chambers and now we're going to do the lower underground chambers. I have a scene already prepared with the usual wall tiles and the walls and doors, the lighting and sounds. So let's go to the journal and we'll start describing the encounters. So that was the end of the upper chambers, and the first of the lower chambers is going to be the lower passages down here. Remember, we descended the spiral staircase, and this is the bottom of the spiral staircase here. And we'll have a little note. Which we'll put in our usual secret block. And this is in our quotes block. So the spiral stair leads up to a small, leads down surely. Yeah, leads to a small landing. I'll just add in down. To a small landing with an opening to the north. The stair continues down, but as it curves round you see the roof has collapsed and it is completely filled in. The landing leads to an east-west passage like that on the upper level. A number of iron double doors lead off the north wall of this passage. The passages are 15 feet high and lit by oil-burning torches. Noise in these passages will not attract attention, but if the PCs linger too long, feel free to have a couple of bullfolk from area K35, that would be up here, or have the dogfolk, which are there, finish their sparring and make their way to their leader's quarters. So they may be going up to here. And the next area is going to be the bat sanctuary. There's not going to be a sanctuary for the players. These iron doors, unlike the others, are barred from this side. On an investigation, smithing or engineering law, the bar is newly forged, while the door is ancient. On a DC 15 perception check while listening at the door, repeated chittering can be heard from the other side. So we haven't put in the DC, but we'll do it now. would do crafting, I think. Let's do crafting here. See how that works. Yep. Made the DC for crafting a bit higher because it's a more specific skill. Trying to add in an ore somewhere. Okay. So it's a clue that the bar is recent. As usual, we keep perception outside of the journal. Opening the door. Reveals a partially collapsed, unlit 20-foot by 25-foot room. Piles of rubble lie along the broken east wall, while the west side of the room is relatively bare. A constant chittering echoes around the room. Suddenly, a small winged, shadowy form dives down to attack, followed by many others. Everything is covered in evil-smelling and slippery animal droppings. And we'll activate a macro to create the sound. And here's what I prepared earlier. Bat sounds. So if we look at the sounds here, I've got one sound that's crossed out, deactivated, or what we might call hidden. And the macro is a very simple macro. This is the way to switch on and switch off sounds that are in your scene. Get the sound from the UUID of the object. If it's hidden, then sound it, then await, that means give it time to happen. Make it revealed, otherwise make it hidden. Obviously we need a character in there. Got the sound there. The collapse has led to a fissure right up to the surface. That's why I got a little light there, dim light, just in a small area, shining down on the top of the rubble. Big enough for a large variety of vampire bat to roost here. To navigate the crack would require flying ability and to be smaller than halfling size, however. The floor throughout the room is covered in bat guano. Moving into or through such a square requires a balance action. Acrobatics check. So see if balance has got a own reference here. Yeah. Acrobatics check DC 15. So in combat, to make a movement requires a balance action. Usually if it's critical success you move normally, if it's a success you move at half speed, if it's a failure you have to stand still even though you took an action to try and move. Critical failure you fall down. While in the square the PC is flat-footed, which we should do off guard. Yeah. If a PC insists on passing through a slippery square without taking a balance action, they automatically fall in that first slippery square. And as the PC can step into difficult terrain, they cannot use step to move into a slippery square. So we'll have a heading for this. Nauseating smell. The smell is nauseating. Each PC must make a DC 15 fortitude save if they end their turn in the room. A successful save results in immunity to the effect for an hour. On a fail, they're sickened 1. On a critical fail, sickened 2. This lasts until the PC leaves the room or until a successful retch action which allows another saving throw. So and the second condition, second one, Okay, it's all there. And we'll have bat attack. So we need some vampire bats. Here we have a vampire bat swarm, which is creature 1, so these are normal vampire bats. The giant bat is size large. Okay, we need to do our own creature. Okay, we'll think about some bleed damage. So we'll keep that to one side. We'll just have a giant bat. It's large, as size small. And creature 1. Perception plus 10, echolocation, low light vision, and skills, not the athletics. And strength -2, dex 35, constitution 1 + 1, armor class 19, hit points 15. Fortitude +4, reflex +11, will +4, speed 10, and flying it. Fly 30 is fine. And melee. Wings are going to be too small, but the fangs (6 + 2) of piercing, and I've got 2 persistent bleed damage. Need it to be agile. What's happened to my attacks? Disappeared. Fangs. The traits are agile. +9. Damage 1d6. Right, got that now. Okay, that'll do for the bats. Need a picture. Nice picture. And of course we want blood red. That's the vampire bat done. We have times 8 of them. And we'll set them up. And we'll select them all. One of them 10 foot high. Why is it not visible? Should we make them 11 feet high? Need to check this tile. Elevation 10 feet. Doesn't look like I can select them all and change their height. So they're all visible now, except that one. And the tactics. Shall we do the tactics? And retreat 5 feet upwards. To the ceiling. So they will do hit and run tactics. Move down, attack, and then move back up again. The move down will count as a move action to satisfy the flying. After the combat. The collapse has also opened the way to another section of chambers. PCs with dark vision or light sources will see an opening in the north wall if they approach within 5 feet. This can easily be widened by moving a few rocks. Let's just make it 10 feet. Nemo and the beast folk are unaware of the opening and the area beyond. They simply barred the door against the smell and the troublesome vampire bats. So I have a macro here. And I'll link it in. It's Bat Cave opening. What this macro does is, you can see on the GM screen that there's a secret door there and some faded out rocks and a faded out, well actually visible rocks and visible wall there. And if we click the macro, the secret door opens, allowing vision, and these fade away as does the wall. We can click it again, bring it back. So looking at the macro, it starts with identifying a tile. I have a tile there, you can see, which is set visible and overlays the background, but at low height. And then if the tile is hidden, it makes it unhidden. That's the reverse thing. If the tile is visible, it makes it hidden, and that actually updates the scene layer. Also, I identify a door, and if the door, which is a secret door, a wall is a door is a type of wall, so this is the way to identify a door. Get the scene and get the wall ID, and then if it's closed we make it open, if it's open we make it closed, and then have some text come up when it's being cleared. Which we see there. The sound comes from the standard sound of opening a rocky stone door. So that's just by checking the properties of the secret door there. That bat doesn't really need to be 11 feet up, does it? And then we have an XP award. I think I have some XP awards there. So we'll cut and paste that one. And that's done there. So I'll detail this undiscovered area now. Crack leads into a rubble-strewn passage. To the east is a long wide staircase descending into the gloom, while the passage heads north until it is blocked by another collapse 30 feet ahead. There are 3 iron doors on the west side of the passage. Actually, they're stone. The steep stair leads down 30 feet and continues as a wide level passage with areas of partial collapse throughout its 100-foot length. A similar staircase rises 30 feet at the end. This leads to another area. As the PCs make spontaneous recall knowledge DC-15 checks, untrained or using engineering or architecture lore, if successful, they realise that if the chambers they have just explored were once part of a surface building, this was probably an underground passage leading to a separate building. passage secret. I would make it a harder perception check. For untrained. So we've got engineering law, architecture, architecture law, or too many there. Yep. So just edit this. If the checks are successful, the PCs realise that if the chambers they've just explored are once part of a surface building, this was probably an underground passage leading to a separate building. And then we'll do this room now. This room has been untouched for countless ages. Apart from a few metal scraps, none of its contents has survived. And in the middle room, this room likewise looks untouched. There is a pile of dust in one corner, amid some iron bands and hinges, possibly all that remains of a furniture container, of a container or chest. On a DC-10 search check, or automatic is specifically searching the dust pile. Buried within the dust is an item once contained within the container, and obviously completely preserved. +1 adamantine broadsword, very nice. So let's do that item as an individual item. And the item there. So it's a +1. And precious material is adamantine. Just to note, if, for example, we had a standard item like a shield, and we just used the compendium version and linked that and gave that to the player, unfortunately they wouldn't be able to edit it. If you want to edit an item, you need to use the version that's in the actual local actor folder. For example, if you wanted to attach a shield boss to a shield using a standard shield from the compendium, it wouldn't be possible. You need to do it on a version that's in the individual module. And then the north bedchamber. Lying on the floor of the small dusty room is an intact metal object. Brushing off the dust reveals it to be a silver statuette of an overweight man with a bald head covered in runes and wielding a fang-tipped spear. Thessalonian lore will reveal this is a representation of Kroon, the rune lord of sloth. The statuette is worth 10 gold pieces in silver, 100 gold pieces as a collector's item. And as a collector's item, I mean if it's taken, for example, to the Sage up in Grimbone. Looking for a statue item that I can change. See if we can have a little use that one. That's this one that's better. Okay, those are the 3 bed chambers done. And those stairs will lead to the a temple area that I'll do later. Next is this a storeroom. And on my numbering system, I've changed. Well, I'll change the numbers later. Iron door to this room is ajar, so we'll have it open like that. This ancient chamber is now used as a storeroom filled with barrels. The fishy and oily odours remind you of the docks back in Pendaka, which now seems a lifetime away. There are barrels of the oil from the mines, and barrels of salted fish caught by the toad folk from the swamp. There are numerous bits and pieces of other items. A thorough search will turn up any common item of venturing gear of level 0. And so if we want oil barrels, I'll put in some oil barrels there, so we say there's 5 of them. Similar to the oil barrels that we found in the tower at the top of the spiral stairs. Send them as placed items there. Right. Next is a weapon store, or arms and armour store. Actually, what I am going to do to preserve my numbering system, I'm going to do some placeholder areas for the temple area now. So we've got ancient temple, and temple antechamber. And we'll drag that up there. So now my storeroom is area 28. This is clearly a storeroom for weapons and armour. The weapons look basic and the armour is sized for different beast folk body shapes. The items on one side of the room are stacked neatly, while those in the other are piled in untidy heaps, and this is obviously the dog folk pile, and that's the boar folk pile. There are a number of breastplates, scale armour sets, studded leather armour sets, short swords, silver-tipped javelins and crossbow bolts, great clubs and a few great axes. I think we should have morning stars actually. Morning stars and a few great axes. Excluding the silver-tipped ones, none of the items is remarkable, and all are of rather shoddy workmanship because they're made by the bullfolk down in the mines. So you can add, if a PC desperately wants a certain non-magical item of a weapon, they can have it there. Silver-tipped one. And then we have the practice room. On approaching the door to this room, the sounds of battle are heard from the other side. The door is closed but not locked. We see a 20-foot by 25-foot room in which are 4 dogfolk wielding leather-padded great axes. 2 are sparring against one another while 2 others look on. The floor is covered in a thick layer of reeds, probably to cushion falls in this makeshift practice arena. To the rear is a stone walkway used by a short steps. The dogfolk attack the PCs on sight. They carry only these temporarily adapted axes, traditional weapons of the bullfolk, with which they have been practicing. They are already quite proficient. The axes do non-lethal damage at no penalty. The floor counts as difficult terrain. Note that the dogfolk have rugged travel. They ignore the first square of difficult terrain while striding and can step into difficult terrain. Okay, the dogfolk have no treasure. Their quarters are upstairs in K18. That was their barracks upstairs. So I guess we should adapt these dogfolk to give them the correct weapons. Dogfolk Sparer. Looks like I probably need to change that one as well, don't I? Right, melee. Padded great axe. They don't have razors. They don't have shields. We should add a here non-lethal. Yeah, I'm going to increase the damage. Okay, in inventories. We'll remove their javelins. No, actually should keep their javelins because someone may throw them from there. Well, never mind. They've still got the javelins there. So one there, and two observing from the balcony. Let's modify this a bit. Okay, that's the practice room done. Next is prison cells. this area is unlit. Only a dim light from the main passage outside illuminates the western part of this area. If any light is brought in here, it immediately arouses the beast folk and townsfolk prisoners. The former rage and shake the bars of their caged doors, the latter plead for deliverance. You see a side passage running east into darkness. On either side are rows of prison doors made of vertical iron bars. To the right are open cages. To the left the doors are set in a stone wall. Let's move this here. The bars and doors are a standard iron construction, hardness 18, hit point 72, break 36, force open DC 30. The doors have simple locks, 3 successful DC 20 thievery checks. The south row of open pens, so you've got windows there, and these ones are doors. Open pens each contain 2 to 3 terrified townsfolk who will not fight and can do nothing but be led to safety. They can tell of the route down to the mines, but little else. They are especially terrified of the jailer and of the cruel dogfolk in general. Madness is common among the beast folk, perhaps due to the nature of their creation, or due to millennia of inbreeding in the swamp. Those who have succumbed since being stationed in these chambers have been placed in cells for now, where their proximity terrorizes the townsfolk prisoners, much to the amusement of the dogfolk jailer. The cells are squalid affairs, with straw pallets and little else. Perhaps it is by the beast folk's design that their captors are made to live like animals. I put that there because it applies to all of them. Okay, so if I label as A, B, C, D, E, I should put labels on now, shouldn't I? So we want an A on its own. And maybe make it a bit bigger. Actually, nice to have a small one, I think. Big enough to see. Give me a B. Give me a C. Give me a D. And an E. Okay. So A contains a ravenous boarfolk gnawing at the bars to his cell door with blood-stained tusks. It appears he is not far off gnawing himself in his insane hunger. Rabid dogfolk howling at an imaginary moon and fixing the townsfolk in the cage opposite with his malevolent gaze. A depressed bullfolk sits doing nothing and will not even defend himself if attacked. D. An obsessive dogfolk compulsively grooming himself and rearranging the straw of his palate into perfectly parallel strands. And E. A human prisoner. This female Grimbone townsfolk is alone and manacled to the rear wall of her cell. She sits nonchalantly, inviting the PCs to free her. And there she is there with the manacles. So this townsfolk prisoner is Regina, wife of Argent, the quarrymaster of Grimbone. So we'll do a divider there. And we'll do an NPC for her. Tiefling. Oh, it had a name, and I don't know what the name is now. I'll have to have a think about it just a second. So the trait was Nephilim, I was trying to remember, and I've added human and humanoid as well, and I've gone ahead and done NPC character sheet with portrait and token. Sometimes the easiest way to do the attacks is to put something in the inventory and then press the lightning to generate an attack, but you can edit them there. It always defaults to melee when you add an attack, for example, like that, melee, but if you put in as a trait range increment of 60 feet, it'll automatically change it to ranged. And then usually these actions can be found from the compendium. Sometimes you only see a feat, and so you have to copy and paste it into here. So she has a monastic archer stance. She has a cross short bow. She can do flurry of blows in the monastic archer stance or with her sharp fingernails. She has feint with good deception there, and demoralize. So these are the things that she would tend to do in combat. And we'll add her there. And we'll put her there as well. And a bit more about this NPC. The only signs of Regina's pit-born heritage are tiny curved succubus horns and sharp fingernails. In the circumstances, however, she proves a reliable ally who will prioritise rescuing as many townsfolk as possible and getting back to her husband in Grimbone. However, her nonchalant and sultry manner might seem off-putting given her appearance. First of all, she will request that the PCs get her equipment and will refuse to travel with them until they do so. She knows her equipment is with the jailer further down the passage, and I've done her character as if she's already got her equipment. PCs may ask where Regina is in a single cell. She responds that after she slew a bullfolk guard with her bare hands, they decided she was too dangerous for mining duty. They are in truth afraid of her horns, and her dark vision that is as good as theirs. Regina knows the route to the mines where the other prisoners are kept, and the location of the loading area where the silver is transported by underground river. So she can help the PCs on their adventure for a time, or the PCs may ask her instead to rescue some of those townsfolk, or perhaps hang around until look after the townsfolk, and then when the PCs find the townsfolk in the mines, she could lead them to safety. And next we have the inevitable torture chamber. Here. The iron double doors open into a sinister-looking chamber lit by braziers at either end of the east, at opposite corners. Torture apparatus and implements are laid neatly around the room. Closed double doors exit the chamber. The apparatus is all functional and has seen recent use. The jailer, quartered in the room to the north, practices his practices his art with precision on the occasional townsfolk whom Nemo thinks might have valuable information, but mainly on hapless boarfolk whom the dogfolk shaman tricks into attempting to betray Nemo or other beastfolk. Loud noise, e.g. slamming shut the open iron maiden in the northwest corner, in the west wall. Against the west wall will attract the attention of the occupants of K31 to the north. They will prepare an ambush, thinking it may be vengeful boarfolk. Otherwise, PCs approaching the double doors to the north will hear loud talking in a bestial yipping manner. If anyone can understand ancient Thessalonian, they will find it strange that a dead language spoken only by erudite scholars is being butchered by these inhuman voices. They hear two individuals laughing about the boarfolk leader being pushed into the pit and the foolish pig faces. Believing the boss actually turned him into a piglet. Now they hold their snouts to the ground in loyalty to a baby pig. So this will be explained later. There was a trap on the door set by Nemo to protect his loyal jailer, an electric latch rune, discovered DC-20 trained. So we need to set a hazard. Electric latches are quite common, I'll find it from here. Electric latch rune. And looks like it's the standard one. And I see I've just used the standard one here. Usually I need to get rid of those. Too many lines. Yep. Ah. Looks like I've created lots of individual electric latch runes. For some reason they haven't done a token, so we'll do that. Tokenizer. And we probably want to make it a bit smaller. That's better. So only the GM can see it. And next we have the jailer's quarters. The VCs will either interrupt the dogfolk jailer and dogfolk shaman sitting joking together at the table by being quiet and deactivating the trap, or by entering via the secret tunnel. Or the room will appear empty as they are hiding out of sight to either side of the doorway. You open the door, and in a moment you take in the contents of this room. A neat pile of bedding is in the northwest corner. A rickety animal skin bed is in the northwest corner. In the centre is to the right. To the east, I should say, in case they come from the secret passage, is a round wooden table of poor craftsmanship and similar quality chairs. Near the bedding is an iron chest, and on the other side is a weapons rack. Chamber pot and discarded bottles. The loud noise the jailer and shaman are making means they roll perception for initiative at -2 if interrupted. If they've been alerted to the PC's presence in K30, they roll stealth for initiative, +11 for the jailer, +9 for the shaman, and the PC must beat their stealth DCs of 21 and 19 respectively to be aware of their presence if the PC acts first. Usual rules. The dogfolk shaman is their leader. His quarters are to the to the west. But he likes to spend time with his pack brother, the jailer. No beast folk ever worshipped the Thessalonian gods, but through the countless years of isolation, some have found Rovagog, and this shaman is the latest in a long line to receive boons from the rough beast in exchange for obeisance and sacrifice. So maybe we have Rovagog here. Yeah. If forewarned, the shaman will cast magic weapon on his brother's scimitar. The shaman is not leader for nothing, though. If the fight is going against them, he will abandon his brother by casting darkness and fleeing through the secret door. So we need to do stats for these two characters. First we have the dog folk jailer, who are based on a Knoll sergeant. So we'll look at Colo sergeant, creature 4, import, put it into creatures, alright, let's change the image here. So we'll be looking for D, dogfolk jailer. He's unique. You won't have a short bow, and he's got his scimitar and his jaws. Let's give him some sneak attack. There's no point in having a jailer unless you're going to sneak attack, even with a scimitar. Maybe he's a ruffian. Yeah, got that there. So that's the jailer. Give him a capital there. And we need to make a token. So I think we'll go for yellow there. That's him, and then we got the occultist. So it's a shaman. Well, I think I'll use the sergeant as a template. So use duplicate. Change the image. And we'll give him a staff. Need to look under weapons. Maybe give him a nice magic staff. What about the staff of... It'd be nice if there was something magic. Mentalist staff. Yeah, they're doing lots of tunnelling. Why don't we give him a staff of earth? And just because we like doing this sort of thing, make it a +1. Yep. Okay, so we'll take away his reactive strike. He can bark, or in fact, let's take away the bark orders from the jailer. Sneak attack gone. No, we need to give him some spells. Spell casting prepared. Divine. Wisdom. And we will give him five of those. 3 of those. Five of those. No? 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 of those. You can guess why it's a lot. Hopefully you can. So the cantrips. We'll have a daze. We'll have a knights. So it's a stupid joke. Detect magic. Okay. Be like that. We'll have a light. Read aura. You know, I'm wondering why I'm bothering with these, because there's only combat ones we're going to use. And then we'll have command. What happened to those? You drag them in. Command, fear, the usual suspects. And can you guess what it is yet? Probably got a different name. Runic weapon. And the second ranks. We do light harm. One, 2, 3, 4. And a heal. And then a darkness. Oh, it is. No. And then a spiritual weapon. Nah, let's change to something more exciting. You can use a staff, can't you? I had sudden blight as a second level spell. There we go. What does it do? Oh, give him 6. That'll do. He's never going to get through all that in his combat. 120 foot range, 20 foot burst. Each living creature takes 2d10 void damage. Well, you can cast it behind the PC's canties so that they get affected. It's got good flavour. Okay. And that's our caster. Need to give him a DC. So he's 4th level. Make him train, give him wisdom +3, so make him 2 +6 +9, DC 19, an attack of 9. And we need to tokenize him. Same color. So they may need to move their positions. If they've detected the PCs, move them there and there. And shall we do a right. Well, following up with a 2 action harm. Okay, I think that's a reasonable. And we'll reasonable description there. that. The iron chest south of the bedding is unlocked and contains 870 copper, 47 gold, a bloodstone and a feather stepstone. Also here is Regina's gear, a +1 striking short bow and her clothes and a +1. The potency rune and a quiver of arrows. Secret door. Right, so jailer's treasure. Let's create a new one. Looking for a metal chest. Not a gold one. Iron chest. And do I have a token? Maybe I don't need one. See what it looks like. If I made it small, I think it'll be okay without a token. Right, what do we need to put in it? 807 copper and 47 gold. A bloodstone. And a feather stepstone. And Regina's gear, but I've put the gear on her person, assuming that she's going to take it, so let's just put that in brackets somewhere. That's that. And then the secret door. Again, we use perception without a check macro. PCs notice a false wall replaced by a circular sheet of thin plaster. Beyond is a roughly hewn secret escape tunnel leading to the dogfolk shaman's own quarters. Doesn't seem to get anything there. Maybe we need a refresh. Press escape, reload the application. And we want the lower underground chambers. That's better. Now we see it. Next we go all the way here to this antechamber. Background. Long, long ago, this was the ground floor of a grand building. A system of canals tamed the waters that ran through the city, and buildings like this one stood on raised platforms and plazas. Great iron doors led into an antechamber and up a wide flight of steps to this floor. Now seismic activity means that this level is well below the swamp surface, and indeed the water table. The doors lead nowhere. And in the description, a wide staircase leads down to a lower level room. Only piles of dust and odd metal fragments speak of what once may have been the room's contents. Great double doors are sealed shut against what may lie beyond. A DC-15 tracking check will reveal there is no traffic up and down these stairs. Listening at the door, DC-10 perception reveals an irregular muffled thud. And I have a little sound. That would happen if you get very close. There is an iron bar closing the doors from this side which can be swung away. However, the doors remain stuck. They open on a DC-20 force open check. Beyond, the PC see only a great boulder-filled crack in solid rock that ends just a few feet away in a jagged, damp rock wall. The encounter might serve as a reminder to PCs that they were in a sunken building. Tampering with other exit doors might reveal a more unwelcome surprise, in other words, a water flooding trap. And now we have the Bullfolk pens, nearly finished. Right, background. The nature of male bullfolk is not conducive to communal living. They have adapted this prison to serve as quarters for individual warriors. The bullfolk here are resting. The others are on duty below in the maze of mining tunnels, overseeing the townsfolk slaves and the overzealous dogfolk. When one is disturbed, if there is loud noise, the others, apart from the one in C, all emerge from their pens to investigate. The pens contain straw bedding, chamber pots, water troughs, and sacks of personal belongings and a few coppers. Their treasure is left for safekeeping with the cowfolk back in their village to the south of the swamp, which is not part of the adventure. Okay, so we'll copy these. I'll just select that first. And edit this to point to Bullfolk pens. Give me a B. I think I'm gonna pause it just to shorten the video. And now I have magically created the labels. So A has a bullfolk sleeping, B resting quietly, 1C, a bullfolk afflicted with depression. If any enter his room, he will simply tell them in common to go away and cover his head under a pile of straw, just like me in the morning. D is empty, E is empty, F is empty. Well, we don't really have that, do we? So let's just... F is empty, G as a sleeping one, H is empty, I is empty, and sleeping one there. And we're going to need a bullfolk NPC. So we use the more standard Minotaur. Sorry, strange lack of Okay, standard Minotaur there. Can't remember what colour I had the other one. Let's have a look. Right, so pale blue. And runes, looks like that one. And pretty much unchanged. Yeah. Just change this prototype token. So A had a sleeping one. B has one. C has one, he's depressed. Because maybe he won't fight. I'm going to maybe take him away in case people hear there's a noise and people automatically will have him coming out. G has one. And the last one has one. Okay, so 4 competent ones. That's the Bullfolk pens. Now we do the Boarfolk leaders' quarters. Right, the iron doors to this room stand ajar. Inside is a rectangular chamber with bedding in one corner, an old sack next to it, and a throne-like stone chair, somewhat chipped, in a prominent position in the centre. On the seat of the throne is a large glass bell jar, open at the top, and inside this is a small piglet. The room otherwise appears unoccupied. Approaching the jar, PCs will see a small note stuck along the bottom in neat, distinctly non-Beastfolk script. So put that there like that, but I think I have a illustration of it. Right, what do you think I would have called it? Piglet note. So we don't need that now, do we? Oh, not this, where we can't get rid of it. I'll try and get rid of it and then I'll let you know how. Okay, the only way I could do it was to go into the HTML and there was a table class and I just deleted that. Examination of the jar will reveal a well-fed looking pig. There are remains of apple cores, but the jar is regularly cleaned. The Boer folk are respectful to their leader, even in his apparent current state. Animal empathy or communication with the pig suggests no unusual qualities. The pig is quite happy. There is no magical aura about the pig. The pig is a normal Boer piglet. The Boer folk leader lies dead at the bottom of a pit. Nemo felt it was more amusing and less likely to lead to the same problems with the new leader if Karg were instead transformed by powerful magic. There is no treasure in the room, hence the previous references to trickery and pretending that the Boerfolk leader has been turned into a pig. And then we have the Dogfolk leader's quarters. Locked with a poor lock. Yeah. Plot up Archives of Nethys. A poor lock. I don't know if you can see my... No, you can't. But I'm looking at Archives of Nethys. 2 successful DC 15 thievery checks. Set that to locked. You enter a neat and tidy private chamber. There is bedding against one wall, and a stone altar covered in, against one wall, bed of sorts, and a stone altar covered in rough black cloth in the centre. It's not really covered. Various oddments, daggers, fetishes and symbols are laid on or next to the altar, or neatly arranged around the walls. The chamber appears currently unoccupied. In the south east corner there's a gargoyle statue which won't come alive. The chamber appears currently unoccupied. These are the quarters of the dogfoot leader, a shaman. He's currently with his brother, the jailer, in K32, as we described. Secret door. A 5-foot, roughly circular section of east wall is false and covered with a flat piece of plaster coloured to look like the wall. The rough secret tunnel beyond leads to the jailer's quarters. The jailer and shaman can meet in private and also have a mutual escape route. Altar. DC 15 religion check. Or will reveal that this altar is dedicated to worship of Rovagog, who we already put in. We'll do it again. The rough beast. There is a trap. There's a trap laid on the altar. A non-evil creature touching it, or interpreted non-unholy. And really, maybe I should add unholy trait to the shaman. A non-unholy creature touching it or items on it sets off a harm rune. Discover DC 20 train, so we need to do a hazard there. Looking at the runes. Lots of summoning runes. So we'll just pick a random one. Oh, got one here. Delete. I think that was on the door of the cultist in the cultist's underground chambers. And this would be a single target. So plus 32. So that's a nasty one. .56 damage. Yep, I don't think we'll have it resetting. Okay. We should change its name because it's not specifically a Rune Lord one. Okay. bid. Under the bedclothes is an unlocked coffer, 108 cotton pieces and 60 gold pieces. So it says automatically find if they look. And create a new one. I think we had a gold coffer here. Maybe I'll just make it a smaller item. Yeah. And I think they've updated this so that you can get smaller items. Before, the minimums, the size would only go in 0.5 increments. Let's have a look. Nope. All offset and weird. Maybe it's because I did the wrong thing. 0.5, 0.5, 0.25. Try that. Okay, 0.2, 0.2. Must be a positive number. Let's see what's happened. Right. Right, back to where we started there. Right, let's see if we can change this. Oh, it looks quite small. Now I had the treasure. 108 and 60. Okay. What next? Sparrow stair to mines. This spiral staircase is like the others. It was actually continuous with the spiral stair leading all the way from the surface, but is now blocked a few steps up. It leads down 60 feet to the mines, and we'll want a Story XP award. Which we will copy from here. And that's that, another whole level done. I'm not sure what the definition of a mega dungeon is, but maybe if I get from 38, maybe 75 rooms is a mega dungeon. So thank you for your attention, and we'll speak, or at least I'll speak next time. Bye.